Working in student services, I'm very involved in activities across campus. As mentioned in the wiki, those organizations are PTK and SGA. So in this photo is our 2015-2016 Student Government Association officers. Charles Wright is in the middle back, and he's our current president, and I'm going to come back to him in a later slide. Last March, I was able to be involved in taking the students from PTK, SGA, and Leadership College to Austin for Texas Community College Day. As you can probably tell, it was very cold and very rainy. We were outside for hours listening to legislators speak, and we were actually one of the last colleges to get our picture taken outside the Capitol because we were one of the largest represented. Once students were inside the Capitol, they were actually able to tour it and tour legislators' offices. Before entering, they were expected to have questions prepared to ask these legislators. They left feeling motivated and empowered, and they talked about it for days once we got back to campus. This is our Phi Theta Kappa group this year, and as you can see, they're a very lively group. This year they're working on a project with student services called Back on Track, and this project is for students who've dropped from one or more classes. So they'll help provide services for these students to help them get back on track. This was last year's group who won many prestigious awards mentioned in the article that I provided. Because they were named a distinguished chapter for 3 years, they received the Beta Alpha Continued Excellence Award. Members mentioned in the article that teamwork and working together helped them achieve excellence. Susan mentions in her interview that she was also involved with SGA. She realized that deans had jobs developing student leaders, and that's what they were doing, and that's what they were teaching them was leadership. So here you see an SGA group from a previous year, our dean in the middle back, and our vice president of student success here on the right-hand side. Susan became very involved in how students can make an impact on their college campuses. So how could they prepare students for being better leaders past college? I believe it's by offering opportunities to speak with everyday leaders whose job it is to make these decisions for the betterment of others, as you can see pictured here. As the vice president on 2 different campuses, Susan was able to express the importance of fully developing our student leadership capabilities. We all need students to make a difference, and here at Lone Star College Kingwood, we are using students to make changes for the betterment of the campus. So here you can see students congregating after an SGA meeting. Susan also found that everyone's leadership capabilities grow when they can engage with other people who may have a difference in opinion than others. So in this particular project, they are working together to make their tower higher or taller than the groups around them. So they had to work together to find a common goal there. So as leaders, sometimes we think, okay, let's just get the job done and we'll take it all, under our own belt and get things done by ourselves. But that's not being a good leader. No matter what the task is, we should always involve others in making the decision and having them support us in the decision. So here you see, he's building, she's supporting. Leadership is what we all do together as a whole, not as an individual. So everyone should be empowered to make decisions and communicate as part of the process in making decisions. Leaders are not as effective to others if they are doing everything themselves and not involving others in the decision-making process. Susan was also asked about some common mistakes we could look out for as leaders. If we think that we have all the power in the world, we can become the bullies. So here, our previous SGA president, Nia, on the right-hand side, is having a good time with other students, trying to get them involved around across campus. I know you're thinking you've already seen this photo because you have. Like I said, I was coming back to Charles Wright. Another common mistake that Susan mentions that we make is not having a succession plan. So here, as I mentioned, 2015-2016 SGA officers, Charles Wright is our current president. And as you see in this photo, this is our 2014-2015 Student Government Association officers. He's pictured in the right-hand corner, who is actually our vice president of SGA. So he worked with Nia, with our dean, to be better equipped for the presidential role once Nia graduated and stepped out. Susan was also asked about some best practices for handling issues in leadership, to use different approaches is one of the things that she mentioned. So working more in groups, more collaborating and getting involved to reach a common goal. As you can see here, they're working in a group. Now we have to investigate what motivates a student to lead. So does race or gender play a factor? Well, no gender differences were found in the article that I read. We needed to look at the different pathways of others to leadership in regards to their racial identity. So here's a couple of different student-led organizations. It has been shown that race and gender do play an important role in how a student practices leadership. So here in this picture, you can see a very diverse group of student leaders, as well as our vice president, our dean, getting involved and sitting in a student panel for our first annual race summit here at the college. As previously mentioned, while no significant gender differences were found in a person's motivation to lead, there were differences among racial backgrounds. While the results from the article were promising, much more research does need to be done, hopefully with a more diverse panel, maybe something similar to the one that you see here. As mentioned many times in this presentation, it's important to get our students around campus involved. By getting them involved early, our students will take an active interest in leadership early on, and they'll be able to use this in their future careers and decisions that they make as adults. There are many ways for students to get involved across campus. Here at Lone Star College Kingwood, we dedicate 2 days for Club Rush. So this allows students to get information in regards to SGA, PTK, business leaders, or be a teacher club, lots of different clubs and organizations to get involved in around campus.